When you think of American sports royalty, your mind likely jumps to legendary athletes who transformed their games. Michael Jordan soaring through the air, Tom Brady hoisting Lombardi trophies, Serena Williams dominating center court. Behind these icons stands a single family whose influence extends across virtually every major American sporting league, yet whose members remain comfortably anonymous to the average fan cheering from the bleachers. The Hunt dynasty operates with old money discretion while controlling an empire that includes NFL champions, soccer clubs, and stakes in basketball franchises. A multi-generational sports powerhouse that began with poker winnings and oil fields. From their climate-controlled owner's box high above Arrowhead Stadium, the current patriarch Clark Hunt oversees the Kansas City Chiefs' modern dynasty, while his siblings manage soccer clubs and racing ventures with the quiet confidence that comes from having sports literally in your DNA. In today's episode of Old Money Luxury, we explore America's ultimate sports dynasty, how 3 generations of Hunts transformed gambling profits and petroleum wealth into championship franchises, while remaining the most influential sports family most fans couldn't identify in a lineup. You've screamed yourself hoarse at Super Bowls, cheered for soccer goals, and watched tennis stars battle on center court, all without realizing the same family's fingerprints are smudged across every ticket stub and television contract. The Hunt family rules American sports like invisible architects, designing billion-dollar leagues from behind tinted windows, while most fans cheer for teams and leagues without ever glimpsing the dynasty that built them. Clark Hunt, the current patriarch, commands this sprawling sports empire from a climate-controlled owner's box high above Arrowhead Stadium, where his Kansas City Chiefs have become the NFL's newest dynasty with multiple Super Bowl victories led by quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Valued at $4.2 billion, the Chiefs represent just one jewel in the Hunt family crown. While most billionaires plaster their names across buildings and companies, the Hunts prefer their wealth speak through championship trophies. The AFC Championship Trophy literally bears the name Lamar Hunt Trophy, after Clark's visionary father. The family maintains residences befitting sports royalty, including a 6,000-square-foot Dallas penthouse and their famous football house, a 3-story mansion overlooking Arrowhead Stadium, where they entertain dignitaries with a display of Lombardi trophies worth more than most people's retirement accounts. Their philanthropic arm, the Hunt Family Foundation, pumps millions into Kansas City children's health initiatives, though critics note these charitable contributions represent loose change from the sofa cushions of a family whose net worth exceeds the GDP of multiple nations. Gracie Hunt, Clark's photogenic daughter and former Miss Kansas USA, represents the next generation of Hunt influence, frequently appearing at Chiefs games alongside pop superstar Taylor Swift, while building her own brand as she prepares to eventually inherit her share of the family empire. Unlike nouveau riche owners who stumbled into team ownership after success in tech or hedge funds, the Hunts have sports in their DNA. Clark's father, Lamar, literally invented the Super Bowl, while his mother, Norma, attended every single Super Bowl from its 1967 inception until her death in 2023. Clark's siblings, Lamar Jr., Sharon and Daniel, each control their own pieces of the Hunt sports portfolio, with Daniel serving as president of FC Dallas and collectively maintaining the family's commanding presence across multiple leagues and sporting ventures. Beyond football and soccer, the family maintains ownership stakes in Chicago Bulls basketball, racing facilities, and even amusement parks like Worlds of Fun in Kansas City, ensuring that Americans unknowingly pay the Hunt family whether they're watching tackles, goals, slam dunks, or riding roller coasters. The Chiefs' recent dominance under Clark's leadership has only amplified the family's influence, with their team-building blueprint being studied and copied by franchises desperate to replicate their championship success. Sports media executives, league commissioners, and team owners regularly make pilgrimages to the Hunt compound, seeking audience with the family whose decisions ripple through American sports like no other. Their financial empire extends well beyond stadium walls into energy, real estate, technology investments, and entertainment, ensuring that even if Americans somehow stopped watching sports entirely, the Hunt wealth would continue its relentless expansion. While newer sports billionaires chase headlines and social media clout, the Hunts operate with old money discretion, making moves that reshape sporting landscapes while maintaining a family-first approach that has sustained their influence across 3 generations. But how did a family rise from oil fields to become America's unofficial sports monarchy? Their journey began not with silver spoons, but with a deck of cards and a gambler's audacious instinct. Long before Super Bowls and soccer stadiums, the Hunt family fortune began with a high-stakes poker game and a gambler's instinct that would make Vegas pros sweat through their designer suits. Haroldson Lafayette Hunt, better known as HL, was born in 1900 and earned his first fortune not from striking oil, but from cleaning out fellow card players with a mathematical mind so precise he could reportedly memorize an entire deck after flipping through it just once. These poker winnings funded HL's early oil ventures in the 1920s and 30s, turning gambling money into serious exploration capital during America's petroleum boom years. His breakthrough came with the discovery of the East Texas oil field, dubbed the Great Black Giant, a massive petroleum deposit that transformed Hunt from successful wildcatter to one of America's wealthiest men almost overnight. By 1936, HL had founded Hunt Oil Company, establishing the cornerstone of an empire that would eventually launch his children into sports ownership and cultural influence spanning multiple generations. HL's business approach combined ruthless efficiency with calculated risk-taking, qualities that would later manifest in his son Lamar's sporting ventures when he challenged the established NFL with his upstart American Football League. At the time of HL's death in 1974, his net worth was estimated between $2 and $3 billion, an astronomical sum for the era that would provide his 15 children from 3 marriages with the capital to pursue ventures ranging from oil exploration to professional sports. The 15 children from 3 marriages created a family tree so complex and scandalous that it provided endless fodder for Texas gossips, and eventually television producers. The hit series Dallas drew inspiration from the Hunt family saga, with oil magnate J.R. Ewing modeled after HL himself. Beyond oil and family drama, HL distinguished himself through conservative political activism, funding anti-communist radio programming through his Facts Forum Foundation and later Lifeline broadcasts that reached over 400 stations nationwide. His ultra-conservative views raised eyebrows even in conservative Texas, where Hunt advocated for replacing the income tax with retail sales tax and eliminating Social Security. Positions so far right, they made Barry Goldwater look like a moderate. Conspiracy theories dogged HL throughout his later years, with unproven but persistent rumors linking him to the Kennedy assassination, adding a layer of mystery to a man already known for secrecy and Byzantine business arrangements. While HL built his empire on oil, his children would diversify the family's interests dramatically, with his son Lamar emerging as the sports visionary who would leverage the Hunt fortune to reshape American athletics forever. Lamar Hunt grew up surrounded by extraordinary privilege, attending prestigious Hill School in Pennsylvania and Southern Methodist University, where he developed the connections and education that would later serve his ambitious sporting ventures. Despite access to the family oil business, Lamar showed early signs of entrepreneurial independence, pursuing his passion for sports rather than simply managing existing Hunt enterprises. The groundwork for the Hunt sports dynasty was laid when HL's fortune provided Lamar with both the capital and confidence to challenge established sports leagues, setting the stage for innovations that would permanently alter the American sporting landscape. But would Lamar's passion for sports be enough to transform his father's oil money into a revolutionary force that would forever change how Americans experience their favorite games? In 1959, Lamar Hunt committed what the established National Football League considered an act of sporting treason. He created a rival league that would change the face of American athletics forever. After being denied an NFL expansion team for Dallas, Lamar didn't sulk or settle for minority ownership elsewhere. He assembled 7 other wealthy businessmen, the self-proclaimed Foolish Club, and launched the American Football League to compete directly with the NFL juggernaut. This audacious move from a 32-year-old oil heir exemplified the Hunt approach to business. If the existing structure doesn't accommodate you, build your own structure and force the establishment to reckon with your creation. Lamar founded the Dallas Texans as his personal AFL franchise, though competition with the NFL's newly formed Dallas Cowboys eventually forced him to relocate his team to Kansas City in 1963. where they were renamed the Chiefs and became one of professional football's most storied franchises. His greatest linguistic contribution to American culture came when Lamar jokingly referred to the AFL-NFL championship game as the Super Bowl, after watching his children play with a popular toy called a Super Bowl, a casual remark that named what would become the most watched sporting event in American history. The Hunt-created AFL proved so successful that the established NFL had no choice but to merge with it in 1970, creating the modern professional football structure that generates billions in annual revenue and dominates American sports culture. Not content with revolutionizing just one sport, Lamar turned his attention to soccer, founding teams like the Dallas Tornado and later investing heavily in Major League Soccer when many sports executives considered the sport a lost cause in football-obsessed America. His soccer vision manifested most clearly when he built Columbus Crew Stadium in 1999, the first soccer-specific stadium in the United States since 1913, effectively creating the template for the modern American soccer venue. Lamar's contributions to American soccer were so foundational that the US Open Cup, the country's oldest soccer tournament, was renamed the Lamar Hunt US Open Cup in his honor, an unprecedented recognition for a single individual's impact on the sport. Beyond football and soccer, Lamar co-founded World Championship Tennis in 1967, helping professionalize the sport globally and ushering in tennis's lucrative open era, where professional players could finally compete for significant prize money. His sports influence proved so far-reaching that Lamar achieved a unique distinction by being inducted into 3 major sports halls of fame: Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1972, National Soccer Hall of Fame in 1982, and the International Tennis Hall of Fame in 1993. At Lamar's urging, and with his wife Norma's enthusiasm, the Hunt family even purchased an 11.11% stake in the Chicago Bulls for exactly $111,111.11, a quirky investment that would yield extraordinary returns after the team drafted Michael Jordan. Lamar's approach to sports ownership emphasized both innovation and tradition. He revolutionized business models while maintaining deep respect for the games themselves, earning rare admiration from both fellow owners and players. His vision for soccer in America seemed particularly far-fetched in the 1970s, but his patient investment eventually helped the sport gain mainstream acceptance, with MLS now drawing millions of fans and commanding billion-dollar broadcast deals. Even amusement parks fell under Lamar's entrepreneurial gaze when he founded Worlds of Fun and Oceans of Fun in Kansas City during the 1970s, entertainment venues that further diversified the Hunt family's influence beyond traditional sporting arenas. When Lamar died in 2006 after a battle with prostate cancer, the American sporting landscape had been fundamentally transformed by his vision, leaving his children and widow Norma to continue the Hunt legacy across multiple sports and business ventures. But for all Lamar's stunning successes, the Hunt family would soon face crises that threatened to unravel generations of carefully accumulated wealth and influence. Could their sporting empire survive when other family members risked everything on a silver gamble? While Lamar Hunt was building sporting empires, his half-brothers, Nelson Bunker Hunt and William Herbert Hunt, embarked on one of history's most audacious financial gambits, attempting to corner the global silver market in the late 1970s. Convinced that inflation would decimate paper currency values, the Hunt brothers began accumulating massive silver holdings, eventually controlling nearly half the world's privately held silver and driving prices from $6 per ounce to nearly $50. Their silver scheme collapsed spectacularly on Silver Thursday in 1980 when federal regulators changed margin requirements, causing prices to crash 80% and costing the brothers roughly $1 billion, one of history's largest personal financial disasters. This catastrophic loss eventually led to William Herbert Hunt's bankruptcy in 1990 and tarnished the family name with accusations of market manipulation, a stark contrast to Lamar's respected status in the sports world. More personal tragedy struck the family through HL's eldest son, Hassie Hunt, who suffered from schizophrenia and underwent a prefrontal lobotomy in the 1940s, a then cutting-edge but ultimately devastating procedure that left him requiring 24-hour care for nearly 60 years. Despite these financial and personal setbacks, Lamar Hunt's sporting ventures continued thriving, with his Kansas City Chiefs winning Super Bowl IV in 1970 and establishing themselves as an NFL cornerstone franchise. After Lamar's death in 2006, leadership of the Chiefs passed to his son Clark Hunt, who faced the challenge of rebuilding a once proud franchise that had fallen into mediocrity during the late 1990s and early 2000s. Clark's methodical approach to team construction demonstrated the Hunt family's multi-generational business acumen. He hired Andy Reid as head coach in 2013, drafted Patrick Mahomes in 2017, and assembled a championship roster that returned the Chiefs to Super Bowl glory. Under Clark's guidance, the Chiefs captured Super Bowl 54 in 2020, Super Bowl 57 in 2023, and Super Bowl 58 in 2024, establishing a modern dynasty that fulfilled his father's vision from decades earlier. This remarkable sports redemption story coincided with the Hunt family's continued expansion in soccer, with FC Dallas remaining one of Major League Soccer's cornerstone franchises under Hunt ownership. Beyond the playing fields, the Hunt Family Foundation demonstrated the dynasty's philanthropic commitments, focusing on children's health initiatives and families in crisis throughout the Kansas City and Dallas communities. Clark Hunt's daughter Gracie emerged as a family spokesperson for charitable causes, leading initiatives like Breaking Barriers Through Sports to empower young athletes while maintaining the Hunt tradition of sports leadership. The family's cultural impact extended beyond their direct business ventures. Norma Hunt became known as the First Lady of Football by attending every Super Bowl from the inaugural game in 1967 until her death in 2023, the only person with such a streak. Despite occasional controversies and the silver market disaster, the Hunt family's sports legacy remained largely untarnished, a proof to Lamar's genuine passion for athletics rather than mere profit-seeking. As the 20th century gave way to the 21st, the Hunt family completed its transformation from oil wealth to sports aristocracy, with Clark Hunt and his siblings positioning themselves as stewards of their father's vision rather than merely inheritors of his fortune. But in a rapidly changing sports landscape dominated by streaming services, social media, and global competition, could the third generation of Hunts maintain their dynasty's influence while adapting to technologies and cultural shifts their grandfather could never have imagined? Today's Hunt sports empire bears little resemblance to HL's oil fields or even Lamar's fledgling leagues. It has evolved into a sophisticated entertainment conglomerate that shapes how Americans experience sports across multiple platforms. Clark Hunt embodies the third-generation sports executive, Harvard-educated, media-trained, and equally comfortable in boardrooms discussing billion-dollar broadcast rights or locker rooms congratulating sweaty athletes on championship victories. His leadership philosophy combines his grandfather's business discipline with his father's sporting passion, summarized in what team insiders call the Hunt family motto: faith, family, and football, in that order. Unlike flamboyant owners who make themselves the center of attention, Clark maintains the family's traditional low profile, rarely giving interviews, avoiding controversy, and letting coaches and players take center stage while he manages the business behind the scenes. The Chiefs' recent Super Bowl dominance has transformed Kansas City from mid-sized Midwestern city to global sports destination, with international fans now making pilgrimages to Arrowhead Stadium, creating economic ripple effects that extend far beyond game days. Clark's environmental initiatives have revolutionized stadium operations, with Arrowhead becoming the first NFL venue to achieve LEED certification through solar panels, recycled building materials, and water conservation systems, proving sustainability can coexist with facilities that host 70,000 roaring fans. This approach extends to FC Dallas under his brother Daniel Hunt's leadership, where the club maintains elite youth development programs that have produced more homegrown professional players than any other Major League Soccer franchise. The next generation of Hunts is already assuming leadership roles, with Clark's children, Gracie, Ava, and Knoble, gaining experience across various aspects of the family businesses while maintaining their father's emphasis on education and humility. Gracie Hunt's rising public profile through philanthropy, social media presence, and pageantry as former Miss Kansas USA signals the family's adaptation to modern celebrity culture while staying anchored in the traditional Hunt values. Her friendship with pop superstar Taylor Swift, who began dating Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce in 2023, created unexpected synergies between sports and entertainment, bringing millions of new fans to NFL broadcasts and demonstrating the Hunt family's cultural influence beyond traditional sports demographics. The family's business interests now extend well beyond their grandfather's oil wells or their father's stadiums, encompassing technology investments, real estate holdings, and entertainment ventures that diversify their wealth across multiple sectors. The family regularly conducts their Hunt Summit, a private gathering where all branches of the Hunt family meet to align business strategies, discuss succession planning, and maintain the unified approach that has preserved their wealth while other family dynasties fracture under similar pressures. Their expansion into international markets, particularly through NFL games in Germany and Mexico, reflects Clark's global vision for American football, extending the Hunt influence across continents in ways his father could only have imagined. Their data-driven approach to sports management includes proprietary analytics systems developed by Hunt Sports Group technologists, algorithms that evaluate player performance, injury risk, and market value with precision that traditional scouts and general managers struggle to match. The Hunt family pioneered sports venue financing models adopted nationwide, developing public-private partnerships that leverage tax incentives while providing economic development beyond stadium walls, a blueprint studied by municipal governments and team owners from Seattle to Miami. As other ownership groups rise and fall with economic cycles or generational transitions, the Hunt dynasty demonstrates remarkable resilience, adapting to changing media landscapes, evolving fan expectations, and new business models while maintaining the core values that transformed poker winnings into the American sports industry we know today. And now, we'd like to see you in the comments. Were you aware of the Hunt family's ridiculously extensive influence before this video? We look forward to hearing your knowledge, and thanks for watching another episode of Old Money Luxury. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.